Farming is in crisis in this country at the moment, and I don't make that statement lightly. If you look at the report by Teagasc just recently, it confirms that farm income levels have been falling across the state in the last year. Dairy incomes averaged €49,000 last year, and that was a decrease of an incredible 69% compared to 2022. Tillage farm income fell by 71% last year, a phenomenal fall, and now they're just coming in at €21,000. If you look at dry stock incomes, they fell also in 2023, and the average income for a cattle farm at the moment fell by 14% and is actually €12,600, Minister. Sheep farmers' income fell by 22%, and the average income now for a sheep farmer in the state is €12,500. Now, across all farm types, the average income has dropped by 57%. That's an incredible figure. And you're talking about now the average income for farmers in the state is €20,000. It's a massive fall. It's a stunning fall. And, you know, all of this goes before we even mention the increase in input costs that have happened in the last while. And because of those income falls, what we're seeing is every year we're seeing more and more farmers leave the sector. Minister, if this was happening in any other sector in Ireland, right, this would be front-page news. It would be on the television on a regular basis. It would be consuming the debate space in this chamber, that we would have a sector fall so significantly in terms of income. But it's practically invisible from the debate that's actually happening at the moment. And it shows, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that in the main, farming is not a sustainable way of life for people in Ireland at the moment. Now, according to Teagasc, Minister, a third of farmers are making a loss. Many of them are going into debt at the moment. Many of them are going into poverty. A third of other farmers are only making an income and a living because they're working off the farm. They're working on a second job to supplement their income. And only a third of farmers in the whole sector are making enough from their farm to actually make a living from them. That's an incredible situation. It's an incredible situation for a number of reasons. But first of all, I will say it's an incredible situation for the families themselves to be driven into such income poverty in their own lives. It's an incredible situation in terms of it is a really important sector. It is the sector that produces the food that is the backbone of the rural community. And it is leading to a situation where that rural community is collapsing. So even if you have no interest in farmers whatsoever, even if you don't care about rural Ireland, it's a very, very important issue. Because if there's no farmers, there's no food, and if there's no food, there's no future. And food security is a really, really important issue. And actually, food security has become more important in recent years than ever before. The Russian invasion of Ukraine has shown how that has affected supply chains, leading to certain products not being available. We also know that that has created significant inflation. COVID saw the shutdown of supply chains, which again took products off the Irish market and led to massive inflation. We also saw the situation with the Suez Canal blockage, believe it or not, in that period of time led to supply chains falling down, products not being available, and inflation as well. So there has been serious attacks on our supply chains right across the world in recent years. And we need to take food security seriously. The damage being done to farmers in rural is affecting rural Ireland as well. And if the family farm dies, so too does rural Ireland. Food lots, industrial farms, they may keep production up, but they won't send kids to school. They won't purchase products in local shops. They won't play for the local football teams. They won't socialise in the local pubs. You might think, by what I've said, is that there's no money within food. There is massive money in food. There is billions of euros in the food market in this country. But the problem is that actually that money is landing on two elements of the supply chain and not the three. The supply chain for food in this country consists of farmers who do most of the work, usually a processor of some sort, and usually a supermarket. There is massive profitability, but that profit is landing in the factories and in the supermarkets, and not the farmer who does most of the work. Now, if you look at the food processors at the moment, they're incredibly profitable. Now, but I tell you, they're very good at also hiding their profits. But one such food processor, and I won't mention his name, his company had an income of 4 billion euros in 2022. Now, the profits that he generated are estimated at 200 million euros. And actually, the taxes were paid through a network of smaller holding companies in Britain, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, and Jersey. And it's estimated that that individual paid a tax of about 2%. Now, that's an incredible situation. A 200 million euro profit and a tax of 2%. While at the same time, he was expecting farmers, up until very recently, to provide beef to the factory gate below the cost of production. And that is the key element of the Aontú bill here. We want to actually focus on trying to make farmers viable, trying to make the family farm sustainable. Now, the other element of the supply chain is the supermarkets. And you see supermarkets make enormous profits too. Tesco's were making a profit of 2 million euros every single day last year. SuperValu saw their profits at around 100 million euros last year. Aldi made a profit of 17 million euros last year. It's impossible to find out what the profits are of other companies because they hold those cards so close to their chest. So what's happening here, Minister, is we have an oligopoly. And anybody who's studied Leaving Cert economics will tell you that an oligopoly is where you have a small number of firms operating with a perfect competition. The small number of firms have enormous buyer power, and they can control